as possible with their aim for the final circle as well as the Booyah when they truly need it. Because at the Southeast Asian Finals, we saw Buriram 80 points and then not being able to close the game. And a underdog squad from Indonesia went on to win the whole championship. And that is Onyx. And unfortunately, that luck didn't last very long. They didn't kick off. Game number 1 out of potential 10 here. We start things off at Bermuda, and this map is usually conquered by the Southeast Asian squads.
First of all, we have to look at the drop spots. Nothing out of the order. Proper respect to one another.
Yeah.
No hot drop, no huntings, no R7 is not coming out with shenanigans and hot dropping Dragon Esports like they did in Point Rush. Peak taken by Buriram again, Fluxo getting Factory and then Pochinok, everything going as planned. AGAL having a long rotation potential again as Sentosa. Some scuffles happening very early on. A bounty put out onto General from Lost, but so far no knocks yet.
Some say all roads lead to Rome, but I say at Bermuda, all zip lines lead you to Peak. And who stands at Peak is Buriram. My goodness me, Lost finding an early one here onto RRQ, but we know the Indonesians are always cheeky, spreading out in the open, looking for a lot of loot very early on. And RRQ is actually one of the front runners of Bermuda. Finding a Booyah here shouldn't be a huge problem for them at the end of the day. As you can see, Dirt's already with the 800 coins in his hands, looking for 200 more at the cost of Hadral, who does manage to get away. And thankfully does manage to pick up a gun that can match up to what Duts is pulling in as well, that AUG should be able to reach him.
And we are also seeing signs of teams who want to get down and dirty early on. Rigby with another collection. That's point number 2 for Lost. And off-screen, BRU actually put out a bounty onto Fluxo. We haven't seen that in a long, long time. It's an old rivalry reignited. It was buried for a good year, and now it has resurfaced on the biggest stage in the world. But I don't think Fluxo cares too much about it. They love to play on the southern side of the map. First time we saw them, it was AGAL that spoiled the party. But right now, don't think that's going to be the case. Duts goes down, point 3 for Lost.
Yeah, but that's classic Buriram, right? Putting out the bounty onto a player from Fluxo only means that they get to track their movements across the battlefield. I highly doubt Fluxo is going to be playing any sort of tricks whatsoever as the rest of them continue rotating in towards Mars Electric to look for more loot. This could just be the biggest surprise for Butis. They just wanted to know if or not Fluxo was going to come in here to bum rush them and kick them out of Peak very early on. So Buriram can stay put for the time being, but they are not the only team that Buriram needs to worry about. Remember yesterday, R7 also came looking for them at Peak.
Yeah. I was about to bring that up, right? R7 with a very ballsy move to go to Peak early and actually flushed out everyone else. But the occupants of this fishing hut, not so lucky. Lost once more continues their bout against RRQ. Riptide Rhythm takes down that Wall Haone down and out. Easily collected by RRQ, getting a second elimination point. The rivalry continues between these two new-found fighters.
Yeah, and just like that, RRQ has made that full recovery already. And with the P90, easy takedown for Ma'al. The question is obviously going to be whether or not Lost continues to fight for this, because we did spot Falcons over at Hangar earlier on as well. They could very well be the third party in this little scuffle between Lost and RRQ. And thankfully Lost does not want any part of that as they quickly back away into Clock Tower to play a little bit of recovery.
Very bloody start. Team Vitality getting 5 eliminations. EVO's just playing very, very safe, like we expected, right? This is a team that is, you can agree, I think everyone can agree, but for now they haven't made any presence just yet, unless core memory runs into them.
Yeah, when you're not the strongest fighter on the battlefield, the best thing that you can do is do your homework, find out where everybody else loves to play and where everybody else rotates through. And AGAL just found Peter rotating through their midst, and they did not think twice. Shot him down instantaneously. Question is, do they now go in for the hut? Noda staying silent. Cypher, M590 in hand. Noda spotted out. Plays the corner really well. Decent blue wall pulled up by Cypher. And a counter tag as well. Barros comes in here for the bait and switch. Going in for the shutdown. And Dew is there for the shots as well. The rest of the players from Pain, though, Motovia helping them out from afar very effectively with the BSK.
Has the air support But unfortunately, the numbers are dwindling for the side of Pain Gaming. Gus having to run away. So AGAL have an advantage. 3-2. Chinoy, Saifa, Barros all gunning for Gus, who is trying to turn the corner, puts up the blue wall on one end, but he's quickly running out of defensive resources. And finally, AGL catches up onto him. There's really nothing much that Motovia can do, and Pain Gaming forced to concede.
Very surprisingly slow shutdown from AGAL. This does not look like a prime squad at this point of time, which they'll have to worry about a little bit later on. Pain Gaming, on the other hand, has got more to worry about. Final player on the battlefield. And they will be the first team to get painfully taken out of the race here at the grand finals. But then again, Bermuda was never a map that belonged to the Brazilians.
Really stings, and it's also a pretty interesting of maps like Kalahari or Solara. And in this case, Pain Gaming just got off
in the local league.
In the local league, maybe on the world stage, it is pretty tough. AGAL, the fact that they ended up taking out Pain shows that they still are sticking to that late rotation on Bermuda. I think Pain Gaming probably didn't expect that to be the case coming out.
So that's something that Pain Gaming needs to think about overall. But I do agree with you. They kind of got caught with their pants down. Unsuspecting move coming through and being caught off guard. Pain Gaming sacrificed very early on. Thankfully, this is a day where we could have potentially 10 games. Fingers crossed.
The rotation, and now Lost and BRU fight head-to-head.
Yeah, big opportunity here for Lost to help out the whole lineup of the Brazilian teams to get rid of a heavy contender for the championship. Buriram looking for Lost very early on, accidentally, of course, as they try to reposition themselves in the heart of this next safe zone. And Buriram not going in for the chase shows you the intention of Buriram, not going for points, just purely going in here for the positioning for the next circle.
Same can be said for Lost, who actually makes a retreat, got scanned out by the Dinoculus. And there are two possibilities. Either Buriram is tracking them or RRQ was thinking of making a rotation. And even Lost themselves are using that Dinoculus to make sure that no one is near that northwestern part so they could move outwards. And I think I like the elevation, but RRQ catches them mid-rotation. Double Rip Tyrita even shot out as two bodies drop as the pass catches up to the present RRQ. Now looking to clean up Lost.
This one is done for. Rigby all alone. Can he get to the vending machine? Dude says, I'm gonna stop you, baby! Before he can get to the vending machine, up on top of the roof. Straight in. The Oscar trying to save him. Has got the charge buster. Just not the gun for this. But he still hits a beautiful headshot. But Rigby so close yet so far. RRQ with the preemptive strike before those revivals could be brought in. The vending machine was right there.
The extended conflict finally comes to an end with RRQ being the victor.
Dinoculus and their big bright eyes, because all thanks to Buriram, they had Lost on the back foot looking for the high ground, and RRQ just happened to be there. How much luckier can you get, Indonesia? And RRQ settling the fight with Lost so early on here. And look at Buriram. This is why they didn't want to go in there for the hunt. The read of the circle, once again perfect from this Thai squad. But now they'll have on rotation, and now there's just a little bit of open land between these two titans.
Knowing RRQ, I think when they are on this high, when they feel ready to really duke it out. But Dragon Esports, not so lucky, they ran into Evos.
Yeah, man. I mean, this has to be a miracle here if Dragons can pull this off cleanly up against Evos, but I highly doubt it. Now, one bright side is you don't have Rasya sitting down far away, knocking. Why? Because there's a vending machine here.
And it can be pretty risky to bomb rush the attic, right?
Yeah.
Close area, you saw the triple clue wall from Dragon Esports, like you called it, there's a vending machine downstairs. And we've seen if the circle moves away from a building with multiple levels, usually those at the ground floor can afford to wait. And in this case, Evos, they don't mind waiting. There's no rush back.
Yeah.
They can just keep getting intel onto Dragon Esports every now and then.
Also, brilliant positioning coming through from Dragon Esports, and this is why they've been able to survive time and time again. Their rotations are always looking for that vending machine, and they have hit so many revives in the competition so far. I'm sure if we pulled up the numbers, we will see them as the champions of revivals. Of course, speaking of champions, your two-time world champs, look, circle, perfection out of Buriram. They have not had to move for the past two circles.
Rainbow, well, R7, they actually flew into the edge of the circle. Someone scared them out. I would like to bet it's either Vitality or Falcons. There's a monster truck drop on top of the roof. Not really sure who can claim that, but Evo's ready to finally make their move. Instantly forced away. The utility usage from Dragon Esports is on point. And the same for Fluxo, trying to force RRQ out. Massive damage being dealt. The glue wall will be preemptively used as the fight between Dragon and Evos now breaks out. Dragon Esports winning in terms of numbers. Evos, you don't want to go down that early, but the numbers are definitely falling down to a 1v1. C4 getting caught behind. Evos saved by Ray.
Seifu, instead of using the glue wall to block off any potential damage and pick up his buddy, went for that super med, instead paid a high price for it. And now, the grenade, no follow-up earlier on, but it has given enough time for RRQ to play the recovery. Time turner on top of everything else. Pulled out as well, just in case anything was to happen from those windows. Mahal still sees some action. Dudes gets a grenade onto Bob, and Buriram cleans up house, and the victims are the Indonesians, RRQ.
Just one grenade for 3.
One more
than worth it. Second it comes through. A bit of a chip damage. Gio actually stolen away by Gil from AGAL, who finally joins the party. BRU still can afford to play slow, but for Fluxo, they paid a high price. Evo's now fighting against Vitality, and Evo's completely outnumbered. Vitality, they just need to be patient and surgical. Core memory gets wiped out off screen, but Evo somehow is holding on dang well with only 2.
AGAL taking a little bit of advantage of that chaos there, hitting away at both squads, walking away with the most points off of the Indonesians. Thailand smiling year to year at this point of time, looking at AGAL as well as put it up, but it's not over till it's over. EVOS, 2 players up against Koja, but both squads need to be very wary of AGAL and their position. The circle now forcing all 3 squads to move inch by inch. Nobody wants to sit in the open circle just yet.
Only 2 teams have a full squad alive, BRU and AGAL. Evo's trying to circle Koja, coming for the pincer maneuver. Koja takes a 1v1, and that's step number 1. The execution confirms the elimination. Koja only has to deal with Kochiu, and things are not looking good. At least not for Koja. He's going to try to navigate the blue zone. Couple of glue walls left. That's the last reserve that he has. Save for Kochiu, both on the last legs. But glue wall melter from AGAL. The Indonesians might just fall victim to the ties.
Yeah, Kochiu looking at Koja, but AGAL showing up just in time to knock Kochiu down onto the ground. And Thailand will stand strong in the final circle. This Bermuda map belongs to Southeast Asia. And AGAL and Buriram both proving that. Fluxo falling out in third, surviving long enough. But Buriram looking for the absolute shutdown. Sniper taken away from AGAL. Chinoy, down you go, they say. But Chinoy just standing up long enough to get a knock. And Buriram starting things off hot here. Question is, can they keep up this momentum they're building?
Cinematic opening. Buriram United Esports, no longer the favorites, but continues to remind the world that even if they are not, they will make themselves known. And this Booyah is going to give them heck of a head start. 12 eliminations plus the Booyah, that's 20 more points, and they are already a quarter of a way there to unlocking Champion Rush.
AGAL so sneaky, man. I mean,